Hello everyone. I am Suri and I'm here with Sang and this is Cremechiss and we are so excited because you've not done one of these collabs in a while and I'm really looking forward to um, this one because this is very special film. This is about cinema and stardom and rising through the ranks of being like this very, I guess, popular something something famous superstar story, isn't it?
I always get excited when before watching a movie about making movies and all those things. So like La La Land would be one of them. So many movies, right? Like I always I don't know, like it's about the making of a business which make a business which makes dreams, right? So that itself is very meta, but yeah, I think that makes it a lot more interesting.
Absolutely.
And this movie, yeah, it is one of my favorite. I think like it helps that it's made by someone who has been part of the industry, like who has grown up watching these things, like being on movie sets and all those things. So it was very giving that it was very evident that the way she shot this movie, the way the story was, it was very evident that she's talking about something that she really loves. Can we give the name? Too much.
Yes, it is called Luck by Chance. And it is
Yes.
truly about luck. The whole film is about luck and about being at the right place at the right time. I did a movie directed by the actor of this movie last week called Dil Chahta Hai. And last week or last to last week, we are not sure when this one will come out. But
Yeah, yeah, we did it last week.
last to last week. But the protagonist of the story is played by Farhan Akhtar. It is directed by his sister, Zoya Akhtar, who is, she's our darling favorite. Uh,
Wait, but then
Mhm.
if his name is, since he's acting, since his name is Farhan Akhtar,
No,
shouldn't her shouldn't she be Zoya director? Had to get it out.
good. The sad thing is, you did this to me before we started recording, and you still thought I should endure this twice.
That was a
Because,
different pun on the surname Akhtar. Okay,
okay, yeah, yes, this is
and I've also read the book, The Zoya Factor. We're done. I'm done. I'm done.
okay, okay. Thank you. And as you can see, Sang's comedic genius, is all over this podcast. So please check out our other videos as well. Please like, share, subscribe, and
We
let's
needed it, no? Because
yeah.
last week I was fully serious with Cure. Like
Yeah,
I didn't make any jokes in that video. So it was like it was, how do I say, it was like bursting to get out all these superlative jokes.
yeah, that is. I am proud of you. Just know this much. I'm just proud of everything you have accomplished.
You're
Uh,
proud and you're
no.
lucky.
Uh,
That's the theme of the week. So you're lucky
yes, it is. It
to be
is.
doing this with me.
It is the theme of this week. We are very lucky to be able to review such movies because one, Luck by Chance did not do as well as you know as well commercially as it should have. So it is an underrated jewel, and it is really, really, really critical that people who want to understand, especially like filmmaking in terms of casting, like what goes behind the casting of an actor, you would love to watch a movie like this because one, it is made in a way that makes complete sense. Like it is not about you know how a lot of movies are about serendipity, and this is not about serendipity per se. This is more about a perfect sequence of events to occur for one particular person to rise to the ranks, and that is the point of this movie. It is about luck, but it is not about necessarily just as simple as being at the right place at the right time. This is about taking your chances, doing the things that matter the most so that you can, kind of succeed. And there is a bit of greed involved in this. There's a bit of narcissism involved in this, where you have to be a particular kind of way. And the story follows two characters. So one is Farhan Akhtar's character, and one is Konkana Sen's character. And they are it. I love that this movie had them. Like, what a bloody amazing star
Yeah.
cast! Like, just think about the
This wasn't his
combination.
first. This wasn't his first movie, right? Farhan Akhtar's.
No, it
No,
wasn't
no, no. Sorry. Rock On came out. Rock On came out before
before.
before this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he, but he
Yeah.
has not done what happened in, like, Rock On is great. It's, one of those cult classics that you say Rock On to any Indian, they will kind of go deep into how the songs are awesome and the story was like so good. And yes, it is a great film. um Farhan Akhtar has done a great job in that film. But in this movie, he kind of plays a bit of a gray character. Like, you, you are rooting for him, but then you kind of don't like how he got where he got, and what
Hmm.
he does to the people along the way because of that. Like, it's it is the story of a narcissistic underdog, which is pretty awesome. Like, you don't see those, because you always see, the underdog has a heart of gold, and it's just um you know uh, is the sweetest person and deserves the best things in the world. But this is not that story. This is, one, we are talking about a time where people are speaking of, the Rishi Kapoor plays this producer who
Yes.
basically has launched some of the greats in the industry. And
Hmm.
his wife is played by Juhi Chawla. And
So well.
she has such a grasp on my heart because of that role. She literally said in one of her interviews that I have seen producers' wives and they behave the same way I was asked to act on set. So everything about
Because
this
like
is genuine.
I think like these people, like I'm talking about Rishi Kapoor and Juhi Chawla's characters, like they are from an era where filmmaking wasn't like as streamlined as it is now, right?
Yeah,
So they were proper immigrants. Like these days, the producers that we see, they have like they are somewhat urban, right? Like
yeah,
they are in a position where they can fund movies. These guys didn't do that. These guys were part of that culture who used to like put their houses on stake to make movies.
yeah.
Like they actually migrated from other countries, say like
Countries
Pakistan or
to,
some
yeah,
Pakistan, Bangladesh, or even like somewhere like some remote village in Punjab, or all those things, right?
yeah,
So they only know filmmaking as a, a mode of hustle.
yeah.
So it is very giving the way they behave around people. Like they always behave like new money, even though they are like all they
They
have
always
been rich
behave
for
like
so
what? Like, I
new
didn't
money,
new
new
money.
money.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah,
always behave like that. They
yeah.
have been rich for so long, but
Hmm.
uh, it's that rooted culture that they have always like they were in there when they were young.
Yeah,
That has never left them,
yeah.
and that has been portrayed so well by Rishi Kapoor and Juhi
100%.
Chawla.
100%. There's this constant theme in the thing where whenever Juhi Chawla, producer's wife, sees the producer in stress, she's like, "You have to wear your Rudraksh chain. This is going to give you a heart
So
attack. Stop stressing." And I love that she has such a big say in his existence. Like, he's not, you see these movies, and generally when you see like the creator and the actor and their interactions, you don't really see what is happening behind the scenes, like with them as well, like in their personal lives with their
mhm.
families. And you see Juhi Chawla in these like very unnatural tinted hair and loud leopard print clothes, and you just know in that
We've
instant.
never seen her like that. Like she's
No.
always been the pretty actress.
Yes.
Always. She's so pretty, by the way. She's always looked beautiful in movies. But here she has shown what she can do with her acting. Like she is a great actress. She has always shown that. But this was like a new side of her that
Yeah,
we saw.
yeah. And she's just extremely, the way they've played their roles, Rishi Kapoor and Juhi Chawla, you can tell that they have been through this long enough for nothing to rattle them anymore. And
Mm.
like there's this scene where, so let's go into um Hrithik Roshan's weight on this film, right? So the movie was promoted
I
using,
saw
go ahead.
I saw this movie because of Hrithik Roshan. I thought he was the main guy. I saw the trailers and I'm like, so if Hrithik Roshan is there in this movie, why are we seeing Farhan Akhtar so
Why are
much?
we seeing Farhan Akhtar at all? Yeah, yeah. And I think this
So
is
I
part
to
and
saw,
parcel
yeah,
of how the movie did not do commercially well, because it was promoted
uh,
using Hrithik Roshan's song, which was
mhm.
what Main Manhara. What was the song? I forget the title of the song.
Babre Bab.
Babre Babre. So it was, and it is a beautiful song, and we can put the link in the caption. But it was so well choreographed. It has a carnival setup. It everything about it was perfect, in the sense of, like, in terms of choreography, yes, in terms of, costume, yes, like everything about it was so good. Like it literally, like, captured what, Indian cinema, Indian song and dance
Yeah.
is, in terms of grandeur, because you've seen that, happen over and over again long enough to not take it, to take it for granted a little bit. But then when you see it in its full spectrum with
Hmm.
all its glamour, it is so beautiful. And Hrithik Roshan is a phenomenal dancer. Obviously, he's a great actor, but he's a phenomenal dancer. And
They
his
had to use
they had
his,
to
his
use
dancing
him. Yeah, they had to.
skills.
Like that was the gimmick. That's what they were going to rope people in with, and that's what ended up happening. People
Yeah.
went to see the glamour,
And
but
the way they justify the dance sequence, right? Like, remember, like, the director says, so after at one point in the song, the actress also joins it,
yeah,
and they're like, why would she dance? Like, whether, like, because in the movie her sister has just died. Like, yeah, we can make it a dream sequence. That's how they justify the song.
which is how you justify, like, most songs in like films in India, which have like really peppy
Yeah,
music,
yeah.
and
They
probably the dance
they
sequence.
I know I can name 20 movies where uh they have just changed the storyline just to keep the hit song.
Yeah, yeah, 100.
Song and dance is that important
Yeah,
for
one hundred
culture.
percent. There is something really special about the way they have written the story as well, because they are talking about the next big thing, like that this is going to be amazing, people are going to talk about this movie forever. So every element matters. So who is casted matters, who is going to work matters. And the heroine is played by Dimple Kapadia's well, the heroine's mom is played by Dimple Kapadia, and the heroine is played by, is her name Urvashi? I could be wrong, but
Uh,
she is a,
Isha something. I forgot
yes,
her
and
last
she
name.
is an aerial dancer. So they use those little elements, of the people with their natural talents into that whole song skit, where she's like up in
Mhm.
the air doing aerobics and looking phenomenal. And they
Yeah,
Zoya Akhtar really sat and thought, how can I make the best use of the people I have? And she took as much as she could from everybody, which is admirable, considering this was her first film, right?
yeah.
By chance was her first film, yeah. Yeah.
So
So
yeah, like I said, she always it. So this is like the rawest that she has been in a movie. I
yes.
think everything that has come after that, it is all due to her experience in the industry. So I think, like, when I see Luck by Chance, I see the purest Zoya Akhtar in the movie.
Oh,
What happened, Babu?
um, nothing. I'm just trying to basically figure out what her name was. And because
Isha something.
I think for the most part, she has done, like, she has a very small role. And she, for the most part, has done like a very good job in being the
Yeah, yeah,
bratty star kid, who had everything
yeah,
served
yeah,
to her on a platter, didn't really have to worry about anything when it comes to
yeah.
like the setup.
The
Like,
casting, Zoya Akhtar has nailed the casting. Like,
yeah,
she knew how much these people can do, and I think, like, I don't think she was as recognized before this. Like,
yeah,
she had done a few movies, but I think she did a very good job in this.
yeah, yeah. She's Isha Shravani. I just found her. So she she plays the heroine that is cast for this film, and she was very. I think she was like, yeah, you're right. She was the perfect casting because one, she has just enough inexperience as an actress to look inexperienced on camera as well for this
Ah,
character, which is like, oh, it's like the perfect little pinch of salt that you need.
yeah,
And Hrithik Roshan has this. He plays a character that was launched by Rishi Kapoor, so he's not
yeah.
necessarily a star kid. But I don't think they go deep into his history. All we know is that he was
Uh,
launched,
we are
right?
talking about he plays a Khan in the so
Yeah, but I want to, I
you
want to.
can say
You can. It's just that I want to give the benefit of doubt because Shah Rukh Khan is also in this movie,
yeah.
so I want to give the
And
benefit of
and
doubt
like
that
when
he
you
is not
think
the same.
about
Hmm?
Shah Rukh Khan, you think about how he became the big superstar because of Yash Chopra, right? With
Yeah,
I think Dar and
yeah.
Dil Dilwale Dulhaniya Le
Dilwala, yeah, pretty much any movie that he touched was because there were the Chopras backing him, and yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, the more you think about it, Hrithik Roshan plays what's his name, Zafar Khan,
Zafar Zafar. Zafar Khan.
and he's so the story starts with him like, yes, I'll do this role, thank you, this is great, and um he's very grateful for Rishi Kapoor, but he's also now come to a point in his career where he wants to do more than what Rishi Kapoor is offering. So there is a
Hmm.
chance he may have, in another movie, in a better film, that he is more
Yeah.
interested. And that's where the story starts, where you see Rishi Kapoor kind of broken when he finds out that Zafar
Oh,
Khan is backing out from the movie. And
that
he's
is one of my
oh,
favorite scenes of Rishi Kapoor.
I
Like
love that.
I always have found Rishi Kapoor to be one above like the actors his generation from his
Yeah,
generation.
yeah,
And this scene is like so evident of that. Like he like I said, right? He is from a in his character is from a generation who has seen films made not not in a very systematic way.
yeah.
So
Like no
he
script
believes in
ready,
yeah,
dialogues you're improving.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely.
he doesn't understand materialistic things or like
No,
he understands favors. Like if I'm helping you, you have to help me back.
you have to help me.
That's
Yeah,
all he understands. So
yeah,
when Hrithik Roshan doesn't do the movie, that breaks it. Like he
yeah,
doesn't understand. He can't fathom like why
yeah,
would he not do it?
yeah. Like what? Why?
And
And
he said like
and when he
what
tells
has
his
happened today
wife,
is huh?
when he tells his wife, he's like, "Mere umar mein, in my age, I'm supposed to chase these actors who I
Oh,
launched." Like I just, oh, I feel,
I had goosebumps when I see
yeah.
that scene.
Yeah. And you see that no character is all good or all bad. Like he's a
Huh.
shrewd businessman. He is not a person who necessarily, is like a sweetie with a heart of gold. But he
Hmm.
100% in that minute, like loses faith in the concept of goodwill and, like
Yeah.
being able to trust that I built this person's career, they will help me in mine. And it looks like Rishi Kapoor is struggling because a lot of money has gone already in the production of this film. So you are seeing the producer's perspective in terms of, okay, I can't abandon this project because, there's so much time already gone into this. We've announced it in the newspapers and whatever else. So now starts the lookup of the other
Hmm.
actors.
Yeah. So and Rishi Kapoor's character, I think his name is Romy Rory, right? Like so I think he does that in a very rebellious way, right? Like if like the stars are not uh, ready
Confirmed.
to yeah, like fuck it. I've done this before. I've launched like several actors in the past. I'm gonna do this time also, and I'm gonna do it better. Like that it was, right?
Have you noticed they show that in the montage of actors, like he tries to get a star, established star to act.
Yeah.
They show a montage of
There's
actors.
there's for anyone who's not familiar with Hindi film industry, there's Ranbir Kapoor in it also, who's actually Rishi Kapoor's son
Rishi
in real
Kapoor's son.
life, and he's like, please, Romy uncle, you're like my father.
I love that.
But
I
even he
love how
rejects him.
that is. I forget who else they had shown in that. Do you remember?
There's this thing,
Abhishek Bachchan,
John Abraham,
John Abraham.
Abhishek Bachchan, and I forget the others.
Was Amir Khan ever there in that? No, right?
No, not in that, but he does a cameo. Very good cameo.
So
We'll talk about that cameo when we talk about Konkana's character.
yes, yes, please. Okay. So let's go into Konkana's character and let's weave now how the story.
Okay,
This
then
is
then I'll talk about. Then I'll start. Then I'll talk about the Amir one.
okay. So what? I just want to talk about the weaving and the editing of the story. So this is what I love about most Zoya Akhtar productions, right? There is phenomenal editing. She's part of like some really I think Rima Kakti was part of this as well, right?
I don't know if she wrote this. I have to see.
I think what I admire about Zoya Akhtar is that one, her editing is phenomenal. Like she understands the concept of. I'm not saying she edits herself, but I'm saying she understands. She curates her own content well enough to understand what should be there and what shouldn't be there. So any of her
Mm-hmm.
productions, you'll see that it is just perfect. It is scene to scene exactly what is required, and the way the story weaves into it. Going back and forth between showing in real time what is happening with this movie. Meanwhile, showing these two, struggling actors played by Konkana Sen and Farhan Akhtar, who basically are without realizing that this movie is going to impact their lives so much, and they have
Mm.
no freaking idea. But by the
Yeah.
time Konkana Sen is playing like this B-grade actress who's been cast in a bunch of movies and but not like really great films, and now she has a chance to be here, and the first thing they say is, yeah, you cannot act in this because you're not a debut. This is
Mm.
not your debut film, which is ridiculous because these are also the same people who said, "Oh, do these other movies. You'll at least you'll get your face out there and stuff like that." And she, you see how heartbroken she is because she is kind of the extramarital affair of one of the other producers. Uh,
Ah, it's not. Yeah, it's like very softly implied that she's having an affair.
she's having an affair, and she's very passionate about this, and she dreams and she's hopeful, and she's actually the person with a heart of gold. So everything she takes in her life with a pinch of salt. So at that point of time, when she realizes that she's not getting cast beyond the best friend of the heroine of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
she kind of realizes that all these producers, they don't have their best interests her best interest in their heart. And it is, you can see the parallels of the female and the male in the industry immediately, that the rules
Uh-huh.
change, and it is much harder, much tougher for her to crack this versus Farhan Akhtar, where it's not that it is easy for him, but you can see that the challenges are completely different. and
Mm.
and you see
Because
in parallel.
she is his senior, right? Like
Yes,
she's been doing this for long. So
yes,
when he comes in, she already gets a lot of roles, like smaller ones, but she still
still,
gets it. So she knows about the industry way more than he does.
yeah, 100%.
But the fact that he gets a break before her, that says a lot about
Yeah,
the gender thing.
yeah, 100%. And it also
Mm-hmm.
says a lot about how truly this movie is about luck by chance, that you could be putting your hours, and you could be in the industry for a long time and be experienced and know everything, and it does not matter. It doesn't. And in the end,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, regardless of gender, right? It, in the end, it doesn't matter, because you also see simultaneously Farhan Akhtar, who is friends with these people who consider themselves serious actors because they only act in plays, and they think that is
Mm-hmm.
real acting, and Indian cinema is so gauche and gaudy and
Yeah.
and
That's Prithvi
unrealistic.
Theatre, right? By the way,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
Prithvi Theatre. I recognized it the moment
yeah.
I saw
And
it.
I love that they've shown those interactions, in the little get-togethers you have with your actor friends, and you see like people kind of talking down to anyone who has that dream, who wants to work in the movies. And
Mm-hmm.
and then you see in the end this friend of his who talks down so much about cinema, um, also auditions for movies. So it's not
Yeah.
like he's playing the I have the moral high ground because I don't believe in like commercialized hits,
Yeah.
but at the same time he auditions for the movies because see
He
ultimately.
only it proves like he only does the niche stuff because
Yeah,
he doesn't get break in this, and
exactly.
because now he's getting work in the niche stuff, Like
Yes.
he thinks of himself as very highbrow.
Yes, absolutely. And have you noticed that there is the equalizer, right? The equalizer in this is the luck, where no
Hmm.
one is safe. Everyone can
Yeah,
have a string of bad luck because of either bad decisions or just like overall just destiny in general, and it doesn't
and the
matter who they are.
and uh, the way they talk about luck for the first time is actually done by the acting instructor, and that is like let out so slyly, right? Like for the first lecture that he gives in the movie is where
Hmm.
he's talking about acting and how like it's very easy to become a Hollywood actor, but very difficult to be a Bollywood actor, and all those things. Like he's teaching them all the you know everything that it takes to become a hero in Bollywood movies.
Yeah,
But in the end, at the last day when they're about to like get certified and everything, he says like, all this is important, but at the end of the day, luck is very important. Like that's such a sly thing to do, right? Like
yeah,
teaching them everything, but not giving this information in the first lecture
in
because
the
he knows
beginning.
that.
Yeah, because he knows in the end, like it
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
matter
like
because
you know you go out, you've learned everything, but if you don't get opportunities, don't come back and blame
yeah,
me.
don't come back and blame me. And also in a way yourselves, because this is really like a luck game. You
Yeah.
can't do anything about it. And I really love that they have pushed these so many little details in this movie that make it so well written. And when like Konkana Sen, for example, by this time she's kind of friending it up with Farhan Akhtar. It seems like they're falling in love. It seems like they're a couple. And you see two I was watching this video on Instagram where they're talking about Luck by Chance and how the movie is filled with like a symbolism where everywhere you see there are birds. Like there is a lot of birds in
Hmm,
this movie, like in terms of
I noticed.
artifacts. I had noticed that when I saw that first, I said, "Oh, maybe this is like a director kick, where birds are important to her." But it turns out that the more you watch it, you realize, and I kind of agree with what that guy says, that it is about taking that flight, taking that leap of faith, like how birds are. And they keep showing two birds always. Like on the film set, there's two
Hmm.
birds. In Konkana Sen's house, there's two birds. Like there's something going on about birds. And
So when
it's
they when they are about when they have their first kiss, do you also see some bees?
no. But
No.
what you do get to see is that there are only two birds. So they're basically comparing Farhan Akhtar and Konkana Sen in this. And what they're doing is they're showing that there are two people who are have the same dream, but that the way they're taking that flight is different. So in one of the scenes, there's a little bit of foreshadowing where you see one of the birds kind of like fallen and the other bird like still
Hmm.
standing still. And
Wow.
it's a great homage to what happens in the story, because when Konkana Sen realizes that her dreams of like ever being cast because of these producers are like crushed in like a movie, she has a photograph of Farhan Akhtar with her, and she basically is like sobbing in front of the producer, and then his wife enters and goes like, what
Oh yeah.
happened, like why are you crying, like, and she's like trying to console her. And then she says, oh no, I'm just, she dismisses it and she says, I just got this picture, if there's any auditions, he's my cousin. And then the lady looks at it and goes, oh yeah, I had cousins like this too, like 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 she knows it's not her cousin. But you see in that minute Konkana Sen kind of retiring from the idea of pursuing movies in the way she was
Mhm.
pursuing them. She loves to act, but to realize that luck plays such a big factor in this is it's heartbreaking. No matter what you do, no matter how talented you are, it doesn't matter. And that the way that ascension happens is is amazing in that story, because now you see Farhan Akhtar is truly through a by chance in the auditions for this movie, that the producer's trying very hard to get a star, an established star, and you see him change his whole thing. I'm going to get a fresh cast, only new faces. Like it was his decision when it isn't. Like
Yeah.
he's cornered into doing that. And Dimple Kapadia, who's like this yesteryear actress, very important. And I love that they casted Dimple Kapadia, because Dimple Kapadia was, a yesteryear
Yeah.
actress and India's sweetheart. And if you guys haven't watched Bobby, I recommend it heavily. It's You get to see that she is now in a place where she is seeing her daughter being handed the privileges that she never had. And there's a scene between her and her daughter, which rattles me even today when I hear her deliver that dialogue. Like, it's just, you basically see her calling out her daughter and saying that you have a phenomenal opportunity, which people die for. And you don't even know what happened to me. I was 15 years old when my parents just threw me in front of producers and what I had to do to get a job. Like, you have no freaking idea how lucky you are. And you see that call out happen in a way which is amazing, because first it seems like that's my daughter, she's my daughter, obviously she should be casted for this role, but that is to the world. In private, she knows very well how privileged her daughter is, and that
Mhm.
exchange between her and her daughter is just, it's phenomenal. Like, it makes me
You
feel
can see like
so
again in that scene and like several others where she's like schooling her daughter. Like you can see like they have such a great chemistry between them, and the way acting is also about reacting, right? Like this is again these scenes you also see very it's very evident that the actors have got her name again. Isha Sharwani, right?
yeah.
Yeah, she reacts in such like the way she acts in these scenes. Those are really good. Like remember that scene where Rishi Kapoor comes inside the dressing room and she tells her to take his blessings, touch his feet, and she's like wearing a very tight and short dress, and she can't do it. It's such a hilarious. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah,
And she's
yeah.
not able to bend to touch his feet.
It's okay. Yeah.
Like you can see they have a really good chemistry. Like you actually believe like they are good mother and daughter.
Yes. And there is some classic Indian cinema messages in here. Like, Rishi Kapoor and Dimple Kapadia did their debut together
Mm.
in Bobby. So the fact that they're here now, facing off in completely unromantic roles, but about like the underbelly of the Indian industry, like Indian film
Yeah,
industry, it
but
is.
even in
uh,
this, they've shown that they have known each other for a long time,
yeah, yeah,
right?
they're friends, and this is the real
Yeah,
life story as well. They debuted
yeah,
together, but they never ended up together, and everybody thought like they're going to be the next, the next it couple of the film industry, but it wasn't that way. They're just
yeah.
very good whenever they show up together on screen. And
Mm.
uh I love
It's
the
so
little.
like these are such like meticulous details. Like this is why I think like this movie is like
Yeah,
a proper love letter to
yeah,
Indian cinema, Hindi cinema
yeah,
of like, and that's why like people who love Hindi cinema would love this movie.
yeah. So one other thing that I want to talk about is there are these really amazing, and I don't know if this was intentional, but Juhi Chawla is much much younger than Rishi Kapoor. So Rishi Kapoor and
Hmm.
like
But they have again they've also been in movies before,
yeah,
right?
exactly. But that's what I'm going at. That Rishi Kapoor is like, well, the heroes in, and this is true of all cinema. This is not just Indian cinema. The heroes, they get older, but the heroines at their
Yeah,
casts, opposite of, get young. And heroines, the second they reach a particular age bracket, it's getting a bit better now, because
it's
you see,
getting worse now.
really. But I mean, you see Deepika Padukone, like, still after marriage.
No, no, no. I'm talking about like the actresses keep getting younger, but the actors are like right now they are like in their late 50s,
Oh
even in
yeah,
their 60s,
yeah.
and but the actresses that they
Actresses
are
are
cast
not.
against, they're
Yeah, they're not
even
above 40
in
for
their
sure.
early 20s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%,
I'm
100%.
talking about I'm talking about superstars. I'm not talking about
Yes.
like the films that need like the likes of Deepika and Tapu. No,
Right, right,
I'm talking about
absolutely.
like superstars who do movies.
Yeah, right. So what I find interesting about that is Rishi Kapoor in his real life is also similar. Like, he was cast when he was 16 opposite Dimple Kapadia, who was also 16. And then she got
Oh,
married
this I
and
didn't know.
Yeah, like they were little babies. They were little baby boy and girl.
Wow.
And then the older Rishi Kapoor got, Dimple Kapadia kind of phased out of acting because that was kind of like the norm. Once you got married and had kids, you didn't necessarily act in as much movies. But they did do a movie together many years later. I forget the movie's name, but it was really interesting to see that Rishi Kapoor had moved on to younger actresses by that time. And Juhi Chawla was
Oh.
the first string of the younger actresses that he acted
Oh.
with. So are you seeing like what's happening over here where Rishi
Hmm.
Kapoor, it is highly possible that he's like a producer and he must have
And
married a young actress who was Juhi
so what?
Chawla when she was, and that's why
And you know what happened?
when you
I
see
think like,
when when you see like Sagar, which came, into like Sagar was basically shot several years after Bobby, and you see Rishi Kapoor finally with like like a really age appropriate perfect pairing, and you see that, and there was magic in that movie because one they have come together into the industry, and then the way they kind of transition into uh like not being teenagers anymore, like being adults and acting like adults. And it was so
Mhm.
beautiful because you see, even in this movie, um, there are two things happening. There's a star kid and a newcomer. And the same thing happened in Bobby. There's a star kid,
Oh.
Rishi Kapoor, and a newcomer, Dimple Kapadia. And
Oh.
the parallels in this movie are they're amazing. They go into layers and layers of that. But yeah,
And
sorry,
this
go.
can,
You were
I
saying
think,
something.
no, 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 it's not real.
Oh, okay.
No, no, I'm saying, wait, I forgot. Yeah, so you're talking about parallels, right? Like this is something that can only be made by someone who has been in the industry, who has grown up in the industry for
Yeah.
so long. This movie has one of my favorite opening sequences where they show before the story starts, the opening credits are just the people who are involved, like who work behind the camera, even in front of the camera, like background dancers and all those things. She has covered every single part of the industry, like right from the actors, the supporting actors, junior actors, dancers, to even like people who guard the studios and all those things, like the caterers, everybody. She's given, and she's given a proper introduction to all those things. Like while the song that plays, it's I think it's about everyone having a dream or something like that. I think that's what the song is all about.
Mhm.
But it's such a great sequence because the industry, the Hindi film industry, everything that goes around it, it's so synonymous to the city culture, right? Like where people come, immigrants come, and the city always has place for them. Like even if you think about this industry as such a, like larger than life industry where like larger than life characters are made, stories are made. Like when you see these people who work behind the camera, they are normal people like you and me, and that's what the opening sequence does. Like it's not just about the hero and the heroine. It's about so many small things, small people who work on these things to make it a big, right? Like that I think is very synonymous to Bombay culture. It's not just about the rich people. It's the city is somewhat an equalizer, right?
Yeah. Yeah. One thing in particular that I loved about the story is how they showed the apartments of the actors. Like, you generally don't get to see that, right? You just
Ah.
see them like hustling and being in the. You see maybe a shot in the mirror where they look at themselves in the bathroom mirror and rush out for their auditions or whatever. But um, you don't see the setup of where they come from and what they do, and you kind of hear like little things where Farhan Akhtar is living with his aunt and she always kind of like belittles him for using her house or whatever, and by then you see Konkana Sen, who's a little more established and has a little bit earned saved money because she works in the industry, she lives on her own. So you see the difference between the two where there
she
is.
she she sometimes bosses them. the three struggling actors.
Yeah, yeah. And um, that's why the movie is amazing because you see, and then you see once that picture, Farhan Akhtar's picture reaches the mix of actors, you see for the first time, yes, yes, Zoe actor, for the first time you see the concept of the female gaze, right? Where and this has been addressed in Jubilee as well. Great, great show, by the way. Watch, check
Hmm.
it out, watch it if people haven't. Again, made
Yeah.
by Rima Kakti's actor. So yeah,
No,
so
no, 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 no.
no, Jubilee is
Vikramaditya Motwan.
not. Vikramaditya Motwani. I'm sorry, I'm thinking about The Hard, and I keep getting
Uh-huh.
confused because The Hard is made by Zoe Akhtar,
Yeah,
and
they
yeah,
came out very recent, like very close to each other.
at the same time, yeah. And Jubilee is again about Indian cinema, so if you haven't watched it, you should. But sorry about that. But what I think is amazing is they're talking about the female gaze, which also happened in Jubilee, where they're talking about the casting of the hero. And you see Rishi Kapoor is seeing like this man who's like bulked and muscly and looks like a gym rat and he goes like, I want this guy. Like this is the fresh new face that should be cast, opposite Isha. And you see Juhi Chawla and then, the other producer's wife
The
just
it's
thrown
plays
in.
played by Sheba Chadda, right?
Yes.
She's
And
such a good actress. Like I
she's
know
very
she's getting credit now. She's been in the industry for like
for a long time.
more than 25 years. I
I
first
know.
noticed her in Hum Dil De Chuke The now, and I think
Oh,
like only now
yeah.
she's getting the awards and for Badai Ho those
Yeah.
movies.
And
But she has been doing work since ages, and she was great in this one. So,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And what I love about that scene is Rishi Kapoor is looking at the picture and he's looking at a gym rat, loving it, wants this person, needs this person, and is settled. Like he
Yeah.
looks like a Gabru Jawan, like he looks like a man's man. He's macho. And then you see Juhi Chawla and Dimple Kapadia as well, like hovering over the photographs and going, I like this guy, and they're pointing on Farhan Akhtar's picture. And this is the first time they're explaining the difference between the male and the female gaze, where the female
Hmm.
gaze is not about muscles and having a a broad out body and stuff like that. It is about charm and allure and mystery and you see three women just sitting there and going, no, I like him. I like I like how. And you see that even in the movie when Dimple Kapadia, that is not the first time she sees Farhan Akhtar. So his friend takes him to a Bollywood party,
Ah,
and Farhan Akhtar, meets Dimple Kapadia and goes, "My parents had me because of you, and and you're a very important part of my conception." And she, like the way he approaches her, he doesn't approach her like a desperate fan. He approaches her more in a way like as a woman, like
yeah.
so. And to think, and I have to tell my father that you still command the attention of every man in the room, and it is you see, for the first time she's an aging actress, and for the first time you see her kind of like straighten her back and you know be more focused on her appearance rather than launching her daughter. And when she sees that guy, she said, I know him. I've met him in a party. And she remembers the charm that he had back
He,
then.
he was he was lying about it, right? Like when he comes back to his friend, he says like my dad. He says something else. Like
Yeah.
he was making up the story.
He made up the story. But he's a shrewd person. He
Yeah.
knows how to play the game. And it is not necessarily about putting in the hours, which the one thing, like you said, from the acting class that he actually learns is that, yeah, it is about luck. It's not
Yeah.
really about talent. And to think that he orchestrated that in a way without knowing what the future holds. At that point of time, he didn't know he would be auditioning for, her daughter's movie. But he created the concept of goodwill. He was nice to a person without really being able to reap the rewards immediately. And that paid off later on. And you see those three women sitting over there and going, yeah, we don't want a gym bro. We want someone who is charming, who, women will
Mhm.
fall for, who women will swoon for. Because when you think about the greats in Indian cinema, Rajesh Khanna was not muscly. He was just adorable. Women would go crazy for him. Amitabh Bachchan wasn't muscly. And he wasn't even like what you would call classically handsome, but it was his, towering allure and stuff like that. Shah Rukh Khan, again, not muscly. Women adore him. They are crazy. Women and men,
Like
everyone adores him.
it's like what Ramadhi Singh in Gangs of Wasseypur said, right? Like then came the 70s where like the men liked Amitabh Bachchan, the
Yeah,
women liked Rajesh Khanna.
Rajesh
And
Khanna,
then in the 90s, the women liked Shahrukh Khan and the men liked Sanjay Dutt.
Sanjay Dutt, and it is so obvious, right? Where you can tell, like, oh my goodness, like there's a very massive difference in the female gaze and the way the
Hmm.
men think, oh, other men could be attractive because of so and so reasons. I love the way that casting happens where they're sitting there hunched over the photographs, and I'm like, is this how they cast movies? Like they just sit over photographs and go like, no, I have a good feeling about this one because they do the auditions. They do
Hmm.
have the auditions, but uh,
The look test comes first.
yeah, the look test comes, and you see in that moment. So I don't know if you know the story of Shah Rukh Khan, uh, where apparently, and I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently Shah Rukh Khan uh, convinced Aditya Chopra to write out Sunny Deol in the movie that he was in with Sunny Deol. Like, and Sunny Deol was like, this again, this muscly guy. And I don't know how true the story is, but I think that is like a little tip off to that because you see Farhan Akhtar in Audition along the muscly guy, and he goes and he sabotages him. So he goes and he kind of
Uh,
hypes him up and says, "Oh my God, like you're so good, you're gonna get it." And he basically makes him overconfident. So in the audition itself, Rishi Kapoor kind of like gets that vibe and goes, "What is wrong with him? Why is he acting like this?" And because he's gotten overconfident. And then Farhan Akhtar comes and nails it. So he basically wipes out the competition even before the game has started. So this is you seeing like the character, you start with, oh, I really hope he gets it, to like, oh my God, he's not a good person. Like the switch that happens, and I wonder if that is, I don't know if that is a tip off because I don't know if that story is true, but there was this massive running rumor during, that timeline, especially that Bobby Deol and Shah Rukh Khan did not see eye to eye because of something that transpired behind the scenes, which had something to do with one hero writing off the other hero, which is very common in, because it's competition. But I do remember seeing that happen where he's sitting across, this gym bro in the audition seating space and like kind of looking at him and going, yeah, this guy looks like the only person who could be trouble for me. And oh God, I love that scene. I salivate over that scene. I'm like, how did they write this character? Like, how did they know this is the character they wanted to write? It's amazing.
I think like everything that she's written in this movie has to be out of some real life thing, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Or this movie also has Anurag Kashyap cameo. Do you,
Yeah,
do you realize?
yeah.
She plays the very serious writer, someone who who only has dreams for Oscars,
Oscars, yeah.
but nobody's allowing him
No,
to do anything. Like that's where he's explaining the ending, which is like very ambiguous, and uh, he's like the hero comes and he takes the rope and he kisses it and then wears it on his neck and like, hey, I'm not making a movie for film festivals.
yeah,
That is something that actually could have happened to Anurag Kashyap.
100%.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
100%.
she, I think most of the things that she's written in this movie has actually happened, and yeah, you were right about the balance.
I'm 100% certain that that happened to Anurag Kashyap when he wrote Ugly. And he went to all these producers and they went, "What is wrong with you? No, we're not doing this movie."
Yeah.
Ugly, guys, late recommendation. Check it out if you
Mhm.
want to have your heart broken and stomped on. So, really,
Hey,
really,
I want to
that,
talk about my favorite cameo in the movie. So
yes.
my favorite is obviously Hrithik Roshan, but he doesn't have a cameo. He has like an
He's
extended
in
cameo.
the movie.
Yeah,
He's not a cameo. He's in the movie. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But my favorite cameo is actually we can spoil it.
Yeah.
My favorite cameo is Shah Rukh Khan. He
Yes.
has the most pivotal cameo in this movie, and
Yeah.
I think it was rightfully so because what he says is something that might have happened to him also. He's also from
100%.
yeah, he's also from a not a industry background,
Yeah.
so So what happens is Farhan Akhtar makes it big. I think like his first movie is a big deal, and he comes to a restaurant with his friends,
Hmm.
friends, his actual roommates that have been struggling with him before he got this part.
Yeah.
So he meets Shahrukh Khan there. Like Shahrukh Khan is playing himself in this, so he sees Shahrukh Khan there, like chilling out with his friends. So he
Yeah.
goes there and introduces himself, and Shahrukh Khan recognizes him. And when he's talking to them, Farhan Akhtar's friends call him out like, "Hey, let's go." And he sort of like looks at them, but also is not like ignoring them or something.
Yeah.
And Shah Rukh Khan notices that, and he says, "Oh, these are your friends. Okay, just remember, like, just remember the people who were there with you when you were no, because they were there because when nobody knew you."
Yeah.
And that I think was such a beautiful scene because that
Yeah.
is something that could have happened to him as well, right?
100%. 100%.
Because he
Because,
he married someone who he
yeah.
knew before he got
Yeah.
right.
He married Gauri Khan because they were in love. She married him because she loved him. And their story. Like, what a great
that
story.
and that did not happen. Like that's how you know that this is a great character. Farhan Akhtar is a great character.
Yeah.
He breaks up with her
Yeah. He breaks up
after
with Konkana
he
Sen.
gets big.
And the only reason he has that is because of Konkana Sen, which is like amazing when you think about it. The irony of it is truly amazing, where he dismisses her because now he kind of wants to be in the limelight, which he does get in the limelight because he gets into an affair with Isha Shravani. And they release a newspaper article where they talk about how shrewd he is, and how he seduced both the mother and the daughter, and basically it's a very ugly story which he blames Konkana Sen for. And again, like you see him again and again missing the point, and they leave it very ambiguous. Like they leave it up in the air where we don't exactly know how long his success lasts. Like they show us him getting cast in a movie finally, which is great. They show us him getting into affair. They show us with Dimple Kapadia, especially like when she sees her daughter after she spends the night with Farhan Akhtar, and she looks at her daughter and said, "Why do you have dark circles?" And then she calls the makeup guy, said, "Isko sambhalo." And you see Farhan Akhtar wearing sunglasses. Next minute, puts it on because what cute little details. And when Dimple Kapadia gets it, she kind of, the way she talks them out of it, and she doesn't talk
Mhm.
them out of it. She talks Farhan Akhtar out of it. She's like, for a movie to succeed, everyone should think that I wish this heroine was my girlfriend. I wish this actor was my boyfriend. And it won't succeed if they think you're coupled up. So they're
And
like,
that is so true, right? Like
yeah,
that is so true for in this industry where like
100%.
in an industry where actresses are considered unattractive just because they get married
Yeah,
to
yeah.
someone.
Just for that.
Just for
Nothing
that.
else. Not even age. You would think it is age,
Yeah.
but it's not, because Dimple Kapadia got married when she was like freaking 16. So to Rajesh Khanna. So she wasn't even, she wasn't like, oh, she's now in her 50s. Like, no, she was just married. That's it. And but yeah, I do remember the setup of that scene, especially when she talks to them. She says like, don't you think the two of you are sitting very close to each other right now? And Farhan Akhtar kind of just rushes over to the corner because the success is more important to him, not the
Mhm.
affair, not the romance, nothing. He wants to be successful. And you see in that minute immediately where Dimple Kapadia, who was rooting for him, who was vouching for him, like when she talks to him, she says, "How much are they paying you?" And he says, "Oh, they're paying me 40,000 rupees." Um, and apparently the producer said, "My lucky number is four." So then or 1 lakh, like I can't remember, but something like that. And then Dimple Kapadia looks at him and goes, "Uska bus chale, to his lucky number will also be zero." And then she pushes the producer to pay him more money, and he does end up paying, getting a lot more for the movie, especially as a debut actor. And you see her also learning like that nothing has changed in the industry, that everything is the same, everyone is taking advantage of the next person. And that flip that happens between in her personality, where she comes back to like, okay, I have to focus on my daughter's career, I can't let this guy charm his way into my daughter's life. Like, I
Mhm.
love those little details. I admire Zoya Akhtar for pushing that, and I'm so sad that this movie was not, as revered as it
Yeah,
should have been.
now it's like gained a proper cult status, but doesn't
But
matter because like
it doesn't
it didn't
matter now,
get any.
yeah.
But
And
yeah, such good writing. There's nothing has come out like this before or after.
yeah,
I don't think there's anything like I can't tell you a movie which is like Luck by Chance. You
that
know what
is
I'm
true.
saying? It's a different genre altogether.
Yes, that is true. The show equivalent of that is Jubilee. The show equivalent, where you see the
Hmm.
same thing, like the climb to the top, the shrewdness, where it's luck and narcissism that works hand in hand to get
Hmm.
there.
But
Um,
even Jubilee, I would say, I don't
it's
know.
not.
It had a narrative. Okay?
Yeah,
This one is critiquing a certain industry.
yeah, yeah.
Jubilee
That's
wasn't about the industry. Jubilee was
no.
about people.
But Jubilee,
That's what I'm saying.
agreed. But the thing about Jubilee is like how you said in the beginning, right? Like there are a section of the Indian film industry creators who left home, who were doing all this in the middle of partition from refugee camps and stuff like that. And Jubilee is
Ah,
about that. Jubilee is about
oh
the
yeah, yeah.
makings of these
This is
people.
like
So
Jubilee is about the first generation.
yeah, yeah, 100%. And I mean, if you really want to enjoy this movie, like, I mean, whoever hasn't watched either, you're so lucky. Watch Jubilee and then watch Luck by Chance, because that is the
Mhm.
perfect ascension. Like you will have
Yeah.
such a great time, because Jubilee is great, but Luck by Chance is phenomenal because they have wrapped all of these details in one movie. And this is also being released in a time where series and OTT and stuff like that is like not a thing. So they
Hmm.
didn't have the option of like breaking down the story. So editing was supposed to be magical so that a lot of information came in. And oh,
Hmm.
let's go into Konkana saying like what happens with her and what her happy ending was. Because that is uh my favorite moment in the movie is when Konkana saying she kind of uh she quits the movie industry, but she doesn't quit acting. So she becomes a soap actress. And I love that they've given a throwback to the Balaji telefilm industry, and
Yeah.
she becomes like one of those characters who's very like pious and chaste and extremely the good daughter-in-law of the big family and stuff like that. And Ronit Roy does a
And
cameo.
she wears a literally like a Draupadi sari. It's
Draupadi
like,
sari, long
yeah.
white Bengali sari, and uh, she is living her best life. She wanted to act. She wanted to be a lead actress. She got it. It's just the way she got there. And you think about this little scene that happens between her and Farhan Akhtar, where there's a little eyelash on his face, and she picks it off his cheek, and she goes, "You want to make a wish?" And he's like, "You're gonna blow that in the wind, and it's gonna fall down. I'm not making a wish on an eyelash." And she's like, "Oh God, like you're so," and she makes a wish on his eyelash. So it's kind of like they both get what they want, right? She wants to be a lead actress, she becomes a lead actress. He wants to be in the movies, he's in the movies. And uh but it's the way they go about it. Farhan Akhtar is
Hmm.
extremely practical, and she is just extremely passionate about, and
Hmm.
that's the way that. And my favorite moment is when he finally meets up with her and he apologizes to her because he realizes that you know the the scandalous newspaper article wasn't because of her. And he goes, "I need you. I'm only good because of you. I can only do all this because of you," like, and stuff like that. And she goes, "Wow, like this is all about you again. This is about how I can make your life better. This has
Yeah.
nothing to do with me." It's like,
Where am I in this?
where am I in this? And oh my God, because honestly, up until that moment, I thought that was a very sweet moment. And when she calls that
Yeah.
out, I'm like, oh yeah, this is really toxic.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't I see that? Like, oh my God.
That
Because,
is why,
oh,
for
you're
me, yeah,
seeing the
that is why
break.
this, that I love that you say that it's a happy ending for her,
Yeah,
because A, she gets what she wants. She finally understands why she shouldn't be in this. Like, she
yes,
finally gets clarity in that scene.
yes,
And it's also that professionally, also, she's doing what she wanted. Like,
yes,
she, the ending, the end scene is where she's calling a cab,
yeah,
and is Farhan Akhtar's poster in the background?
yeah,
The billboard, right? Yeah,
yeah.
it's
And
in
you
the
see a
background. Like,
bunch of birds fly across his face. Yeah.
oh, that I didn't notice. Okay, so in that, it's like you get what that she was chasing stardom,
Hmm.
but she actually wanted what she's doing right now. So it's like you're right. He he wanted to be a star, not an actor, and she actually wanted to be an actor and not a star. Maybe
Yeah,
a star, but she she was more passionate about acting. Yeah,
yeah,
I agree.
yeah. And I love that they showed him alone. In the
Mhm.
end, he's all alone because he basically runs off anyone who wished him well. He associates himself with people who are very, toxic and self-centered, and they have to be if they have to survive in the industry. Uh,
Mhm.
they also show in a very weird way where he's headed with Zafar Khan, because Zafar Khan is in a party
Oh yeah.
and he realizes that the movie he ditched this Rishi Kapoor's film for gets cancelled. So
Mhm.
it gets shelved and he can't. So he basically loses two movies in one go. And now there's this newcomer who, comes from nowhere
Yeah.
suddenly and, becomes the next big thing, which
And then
is
Karan Johar in that scene says like, "It was your time, and now it's his."
now it's his
Something
time.
like that he said.
Oh God, like I love that Karan Johar was given that dialogue,
Yeah.
especially like he was so anti like casting new people and non-star kids and stuff like that. Like the fact that he's like, well, look what happened, look what's going on. And I enjoyed that scene because you can see Ritik Roshan, in his full, demigod-like demeanor, just kind of like sulk a little bit because he he missed out on something which could have been the next big thing in his career.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love those little details. I love that they showed Farhan Akhtar to not get Konkona Sen in the end,
Mhm.
because it would have been such. And I think that again, see, this is why the movie was not a commercial hit. This is why, because you would think in that moment when the hero goes like, I'm nothing without you, you have to be there in my life so my life can be great, like you would think like, yes, now the heroine will forgive him and they'll be together forever, actor and actress. And it was like, no,
Nope.
you are toxic. I
This is
love
what
that.
makes Zoya Akhtar. I think she is my favorite Indian director working right now. I don't think it used to be Anurag Kashyap now, but after I think Made in Heaven, it's her.
Hmm. Hmm.
I finally knew it was like Made in. So first I think Gully Boy came out, and then
Yes.
Made in Heaven came out. I was
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
how can she do that?
How can she do both?
In this, yeah.
Yeah. She is the she's very absurdly the good girl and the bad girl. Like
Mhm.
you look for people say like, oh my God, they want the perfect woman, the woman who's like a freak in the sheets and like a lady on the streets, like that. Yeah, Zoya Akhtar is the film equivalent of that because she is a freak in the sheets. When she made Dil Dhadakne
Mhm.
Do and Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, and then she can make something like
Oof.
Luck by Chance in the same breath, of course, like she is a person who can like really has two alter egos, like can like
Only she can make me generate interest in the Archies. Like, it was. I'm so excited for that
you
movie. I
are.
don't know. I don't know why I am. It's only because of Zoya Akhtar.
I am tempering my expectations.
But she has not gone wrong. That's what I'm telling.
No, she hasn't. I feel like everything I watched of hers, I realized later on it was her. everything I ever watched of hers, I realized in the aftermath that it was her behind it. Which is why now I'm like, now because I know it's her, I'm like just tempering my expectations because I don't know. I don't wanna watch something of a person that I adore so much and feel underwhelmed. So I'm just like,
Mhm. Also, Made in Heaven season 2 is coming out sometimes.
yes, I
So,
know. I'm so excited about that. I'm so excited about that. And finally, it's happening.
yep.
First of all, once again, please like, share, subscribe. A lot of effort goes in these videos. A lot of effort goes in coming up with these discussions as well, because this is two people literally babbling at each other. Yes, that's what it may seem like on the surface, but believe you me, we are two very passionate people when it comes to the movies. We
We're doing
adore.
what we love. We are sort of konkanas, but we also want to get where Farhan Akhtar is.
We really do. We really do. Actually, no. Screw coconut thing. We
Yeah, we want to be on that billboard.
we want to be on the billboard. And speaking of debuts, because we've done like a bit of debut theme this week, I'm thinking in the next collab, if you would like to do a debut of a certain Konkona Singh, and it could go either or, considering which debut I'm talking about, if you know what I mean. I
I don't know.
I will
I
I will tell you after we are done with this video. And because we're at the end of the video, again, guys, please like, share, subscribe, share. If you share, and you don't even have to like it, but if you share it, it'll really help the channel grow. So do that. But do subscribe. Do tell us what you think about it in the comments. And we just love all the love you're giving us in the other videos. We adore you for that. The schedule has been erratic. In spite of that, you've like stuck along with us. So the subscribers who already subscribed, thank you. And the ones who are watching without subscription, subscribe. Say subscribe.
subscribe.
Okay. Okay. I will see you soon. And we love you very much. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.